Hi, I'm Lyndsie. My pronouns are she, her. And today I'd like to walk you through some thoracic extension work and some relaxing things we can do with a yoga bolster. You're gonna have your best luck with a cylindrical yoga bolster, but you can definitely use one that is a little more square. We can make it work. You just might not get as much extension over it as we keep going. So grab your bolster. We're gonna turn it horizontally across our mat. And we're gonna sit our butt down in front of it. Your legs truly can be any position that feels good to you right now. I prefer a soft bend to long because it really is a long lever at that point. So just try to have a soft bend to your knees and lay yourself back on this bolster. No matter what, I want your butt to be heavy down on the mat. From here, I'd like you to bring your hands back behind your head and take a couple of big breaths. Now this might be work right away. As we're holding here, we're keeping ourselves from falling backwards over that bolster. Now with your breath, I'd like you to start adding a little thoracic extension. So on your inhale, you're gonna let yourself fall backwards over. And an exhale is gonna bring you back up. 2 more times, just with a gentle reach over. This might feel like a lot, my friends, so please go to what feels doable for you today. Exhale brings you up. And then inhale takes you over. And now let's curl up and hold for a moment. From here, I want you to come back over 3 more times, but I want you to think about length this time. I like to even traction my head a little bit, shoulders out of my ears, but I'm pulling gently on my head that I'm holding. And as I inhale and arch over, I think about reaching. And exhale curls me back up. 2 more times. Get longer as you go over. And up. Last one. Reaches, reaches, reaches. And up we come. Now this time, grab behind your legs or whatever you need to bring yourself up off of the bolster. Now we're gonna prep a little bit. If you, in those arches, didn't get back far enough that you feel like your head could kind of rest by itself back there, I want you to snag a pillow off your couch, a folded up towel, heck, even a yoga block for your head to land on, okay? So lay it back behind here and let your head fall onto it as you come over. Because we're gonna hang out in that thoracic extension and get a little bit of arm movement in here. All right, so we're gonna lean back against it again. Hands can start behind your head, butt heavy, and then inhale, we arch over, finding our range of motion. Now here, I'm comfortable with my neck letting my head just dangle. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna let it go back because your cervical spine is built for this sort of extension. So my head will rest. If yours does not, again, pillow, yoga block, whatever you need to support you here. Try different heights of a yoga block if you have one. And then your arms are gonna come up to the ceiling, palms facing in towards each other. And then we're gonna take one arm down by your hip and one up by your ear. Oh, that feels like an interesting stretch. And then we go the other way. Back and forth. Just trying to get a little more length and movement out of the shoulder girdle as we're in this thoracic extension. One more each way. Back up to the ceiling. Now, on your next exhale, bring your chin towards your chest and curl up, 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 up to a little upper body contraction. Now you can grab behind your thighs if that works for you, but you're bringing yourself back up to a tall seated position. Move your legs wherever you need them. I'm gonna scoot just a tiny bit away from my couch because I definitely was running into it. And then I'm gonna scoot my butt a little further away so that more of my upper back and maybe even my shoulder blades can be supported here. Gonna have my hands back behind my head again. And then I'm gonna inhale to arch over here and exhale to curl. And again, inhale arches you over. Exhale, we curl. Last one, just with a passive stretch over. And up. Now we're gonna add on by bringing that length back into it. The bolster is higher on our back now, so we're getting really granular in this upper portion of the back. I want you to think long. Gentle traction on your head. Inhale arches you over, over, over. Oh yes, and exhale up. 2 more. And up. Last one. And up. Once you come to your curl, you can grab behind your legs, hands down on the floor, whatever you need to bring yourself up. Now that we've extended our spine backwards, I'd like to extend it over as well. So lateral flexion. So refluff your bolster if it got kind of squashed. Sometimes they do. And then you're gonna lay down on your side on it with that bolster right across sort of the midpoint of your rib cage. You don't want it in your armpit and you don't want it down in your waist. The positioning here is gonna be based on your own body. We all have different length torsos, so I can't really give you a measurement, but I want you to feel this in a couple of places and see where you get your best stretch. Now the legs. I'm gonna keep my bottom leg bent, and then I'm gonna extend my top leg long, straight out of the hip. And this bottom leg now becomes a little tripod, and the top leg is just reaching. We are going to keep this bottom hand underneath our head for a moment. We can always come back to this supported position. But for now, straighten that arm out. Drape your head down towards that ear and take your top arm up and over. Oh, hello. And breathe. Now reach the toes in opposition from the top fingertips. Grab that top wrist maybe and give it a gentle pull. Then bring both hands back behind your head. Elbows will be bent as a result. Now, here, we're gonna go in and out of this lateral flexion. And as a result, I'm very sorry, but you're gonna have to do some side sit-ups. They're not wild, they're not really big, but to get a full range of motion, we need to be able to come in and out of it. So from here, you're gonna bring the elbows in closer towards your face. And then you're gonna inhale to dive your head towards the floor and exhale to come up. Inhale dives you over. Exhale brings you up. And up. And up. One more curl up. And then we're gonna arch over and hang out here. Let that bottom arm rest. Let your head still be supported by the hand and reach that top arm long. Now here, a lot of the stretch is just happening between our ribs and up our sides, those lats. And we're going to make this a little bit more about our front ribs for a moment. And to do that, we're gonna rotate our chest up towards the sky slightly. Breathe in, and then exhale, bring yourself back to center into that side bend. Inhale, we open. Exhale, we restack. 2 more times. Inhale, open. And exhale, stacks. 1 more time. Inhale, open. And exhale, restack. Reach that top arm again in opposition to the top toes. And then take that top arm up to the sky and use it to hook yourself up. Really, you can get up any way that you like, but I like using my arm to help me get a little momentum. All right, we're just gonna roll over to the other side. Same setup here. Ribs on that bolster, bottom hand underneath your head, legs set up, bottom knee is bent, top leg extends long from your hip socket. Both hands come back behind your head. Actually, I skipped that, or I skipped something on this side. We're gonna extend the bottom arm long and reach the top arm long as well to let that rib cage, oh geez, reach up to the sky. Oh, this is apparently my tight side today. Big breaths. Grab that top wrist with the bottom hand and give it a little pull to breathe more. Okay, hands come back behind your head. Elbows are in your peripheral vision, so they're a tiny bit kicked forward. And then we're gonna bring those elbows close to you and dive over and exhale, come up. Inhale, dive over. Exhale. And up. 3 more. 2. And last, curl up, come right back down. Hang out here. Bottom hand's gonna continue supporting the head, and top arm reaches long in opposition to the top toes. And breathing. Now 4 times. We're gonna open the chest towards the sky, take a big breath in, and exhale, come back to center. We're trying to rotate through the waist to do this, so don't let your hips and pelvis go with you. Inhale, we open and hold. Exhale, we come back to the side bend. 1 more time. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Last time. Inhale, open, open, open. And exhale, close. Another tactic for getting up. Hand on the bolster, bottom elbow out. Push yourself up. Fabulous. Now we're gonna work on some very active thoracic extension. So previously there was some passive, there was some active as we were reaching to stretch over. But now I wanna start working on how do I get my back to come up using its muscles instead of draping over something. So we're gonna rotate to face our bolster, poof it back up if it's gotten flat at all. And then you're gonna bring your chest onto it. And then let your legs be long. You can tuck your toes under. If this feels like a really extreme position for your low back, totally reasonable. And I'd like you to maybe bring like a pillow underneath your pelvis to lift you up a little bit. But otherwise, sometimes it's nice to just have some space there. Now, I'm gonna have my hands on the ground out in front of me as well as my forearms. And then I'm gonna let my body drape over this. The first little bit of work is just from here on an inhale, lifting your head up in line with your spine and then bringing your chest forward like you're trying to reach it away from you. It'll happen to lift, but I'm not trying to actively lift it. And then back down we go. 2 more times. You can push gently into the floor here as well if that's helpful to you. And down. Last 2. And down. Last 1. And down. Fabulous. Now we have to scoot a little forward. So that was on our chest before, and we want to give ourselves a little bigger range of motion. So I'm going to scoot a little forward, get more of my belly on that bolster, and walk my hands a little further out and drape myself down and over. Now here, it's gonna likely feel, or it could feel like a low back stretch, and just hang out for a second. Let yourself be flexed over. Now, keeping your hands down, you can drag them towards you as you come up, but on your inhale, plug your shoulders down your back, Get your head in line with your spine and lift your chest forward and up. And right back down. 3 more times. Down. 2. And down. Last one, think chest forward, forward, forward. And down we go. Couple of big breaths in this forward folded position. Rock your hips from side to side if you're starting to get tight there at all, and tilt your pubic bone forward and back a few times to move your pelvis. Now we're gonna either do 4 of the exact same thing, or you're gonna come along for a ride to get a little more intense. And that intensity changes just because we're gonna pull our hands out of it. So again, you're welcome to keep your hands down, do 4 more of the same thing if that felt right for you today. Or you can come along for this ride, and we're gonna bring the hands back behind the head and rest our forehead down as low as we can. Hover the elbows off the floor, and then on your inhale, lift your chest forward and up. Exhale down. Inhale lifts. Exhale lowers. Make this about your chest, not your neck. Last one. And down we go. Hands come down, press yourself back and come to a child's pose for a moment, if that is in your body's repertoire. If not, hover your butt up off your heels and wag your butt left and right. But otherwise, come into a nice, deep child's pose. Knees can be super wide here. All right. Let's come back into that same starting position. So we're bringing ourselves forward, laying our belly across that bolster, lowering our face down towards the floor. I'd like you to then take your arms out to the sides. Now here, you're welcome to keep the hands down, and as you lift yourself into extension, bring them in towards you, so you kind of draw them in towards you to keep supporting yourself. Or the other option is to hover the arms. Palms facing down. Now on your next inhale, there's 4 of these too. Inhale, we come up. And exhale down. 3 more. Two. Last one. And down we come. Rock your butt from side to side. Now we're gonna do one more piece here of thoracic extension that is specifically focused on rotation during extension. It is hands behind the head during all of it, and if that is not your vibe today, and you're not coming up to that position, you're going to keep your hands down out to the side. Goal will be to lift one arm, rotate your chest, and switch back and forth. You either have that option, come along for 4 on each side, or follow along for the option I'm gonna do, which is coming down, arching over, hands behind your head, elbows wide. Now on an inhale, we lift up. And on an exhale, we rotate and try to tap an elbow down. Inhale through center, exhale, rotate to tap an elbow down. Back and forth, you're either lifting one long arm or rotating with hands behind your head, halfway there. Breathing wherever you need to breathe. Last one. Come through center and set your head back down. Push yourself back to that child's pose, or at least quadruped, to release that low back. Wag your butt left and right a couple times. Now from here, I'd like you to push your bolster a little further away from you. Hands come on it, and I want you to drop your chest down through your arms. Oh yeah, this might feel like a heck of a lot. So you come to your version of this position. Shoulders away from your ears, breathe, breathe. You know, I was hoping that the dogs would come in and visit. The studio's fully open, and Corbin started out in here, and then he bailed. Wonder where he went. Probably outside. From here, we're gonna take one hand off and thread it underneath the other armpit, and let that shoulder and ear drape down towards the floor. Oh, yes. Big breaths into the back of that rib cage and all of that shoulder stuff back there. Then on your next exhale, let's roll ourselves through center just to switch sides, sending the other arm underneath the opposite armpit and breathing. Ear and shoulder down towards the mat. Bring yourself through center. Come back to a child's pose. Again, your knees can be super wide here. Shoulders away from your ears. And breathe. On your next exhale, curl your way up. And come up to a quick high kneeling moment. Now, we are going to turn this bolster lengthwise. And we're gonna lay ourselves down and start working or doing a little bit of work on the full back line of the body. Thoracic extension is just one piece to this back line connection. So you're gonna lay yourself down, trying to be as supported as you can. Boobs probably are hanging out at the very end of this bolster. Hands are down on the floor in front of you, elbows bent, forearms even down. I'm gonna scooch mine forward so that the elbows are more lined up with my shoulders. Now, from here, we're gonna activate the legs. So that means push through the tops of your feet so that the knees hover and the legs fire up. Take a moment and think about tucking your tailbone towards the floor a little bit to fill up your low abs, or your low back with your abs. Now, trying to not show a lot of big visible shift, you're going to lift one leg and lower it. And then the other leg lifts. Back and forth. Firing up the back line of that body. One more each way. Lower it, relax the legs for a moment. Now we're gonna start working on something that is called crossbody slings. So your right leg is intrinsically tied to your left leg. The way our muscles function, they spiral across the body and they relate to each other. So if you notice when you walk, when your right leg goes forward, your left arm swings forward too. Same thing is tied on the back side of your body. It's just not walking forward motion. So we like to work them together sometimes. We're gonna be looking down at the floor. Let's reactivate those legs. And just your left leg is going to hover and stay up. Now from here, you're gonna try to reach your right arm out in front of you. That oppositional arm and leg reach. Now both limbs lift and lower. For 3, 2, and 1. Hand down first, leg down, rest for a moment. During all of this, the crown of our head is just reaching in opposition to our tailbone. So we're looking down at the floor the vast majority of the time. Let's reactivate those legs. And then we're gonna hover the right leg up off the floor and extend the left arm out as well. And then these two limbs lift and lower. 3, 2, 1. Hand down first, leg down, relax those legs. Now our last thing here is some supported thoracic rotation while we're still in a little bit of extension. So we're gonna go back to those airplane arms that were an option earlier. We're totally getting into them this time. Let's extend or activate those legs. Press the tops of the feet down. The feet get to stay down the whole time for this one. We're gonna take the arms out to a T position, and then we're just gonna lift our chest slightly forward. Now here, I want you to pretend that you are an airplane and you're gonna bank to one side and then come through center and bank the other way. Remember, you're on a bolster. Your hand might not touch down because it might be too precarious, but we're having to shift and negotiate this body movement back and forth. Woo, almost ate it. One more each way. Come back to center, lower the hands down by your sides, and press yourself off the bolster to find a child's pose again, or an elevated position that lets you wag your tail left and right. Now on your next exhale, you're gonna curl your way up, find a high kneeling moment, roll your shoulders a little bit, and we're gonna take that bolster just out of the way. We have one more thing to do, one more thing. And we're gonna lay down on our back, make sure the bolster's nearby, and then you're going to pull it underneath your bent knee position. So if your feet are flat, your knees are bent, lift your booty up and try to pull it underneath your butt. Yeah, oh yeah, this is one of my favorite places to hang out. If you have an angry low back, if it gets mad at you just living life, sitting in chairs, or even doing that thoracic extension work we just did, an elevated pelvis and resting in this position is choice. It is so nice. So give yourself this moment. Your feet can be flat, knees can be bent, or you can zip your legs all the way together and let the knees fall open to the sides. And then I also like to open the arms out wide to a T and just breathe. Letting your pelvis be supported. Letting any tension you may have built there earlier just drain out of the body. Two more big breaths. All right, now we're gonna zip the legs back together and flip the arms over and get them a little closer to you. Honestly, all we're doing to finish is just a little bit of hip mobility. So we're gonna lift or pick a leg, I don't really care which one. Lift that thigh bone up and lower the heel towards your tush. And then imagining that your knee is the end of the long line of your leg, you're gonna use it to make circles. Just big, juicy ones, whatever range of motion feels like you're getting the most out of this movement. And by the most, I mean literal size. One more time. And then at the top, just reverse that circle. You gotta make sure we go both ways. 2 and 1. At the top here, set that foot down to rest and bring the other leg up, letting the foot fall towards your tush. And we're gonna circle this one. Ooh, this is the tight one. All right. So I'm gonna just really focus on stabilizing my pelvis and letting that leg swirl around in that socket. Last one this way. And then at the top, reverse that circle. Oh yeah, the second direction on a tight hip is always more intense in my opinion. Whew. 2 and 1. Set that foot down, rest again, 3 big breaths. Now on your next exhale, you're gonna lift your butt up and push that roll or bolster out from underneath you. I like to use my feet to then roll it out of the way, come over onto my side and pop all the way up. And that's it today, friends. Just some thoracic extension and some low back release work too, to be kind to your body. So this is a nice low-key movement session, but a thing that we should do a lot if we live hunched over a computer all the time. Find more moments to open and get wide across your chest. Thanks so much for joining, and I hope to see you next time.